Hey everyone, welcome to Walk and Talk. Today on the show we have a very amazing guest, one of the hottest photographers in North America, Mr. Steve Carty. Steve has worked with guys like Pharrell, Ludacris, Kanye West. He is the man. And he's going to talk about today about how to connect with your subject, whether they're a celebrity or not. He's the guy who knows how to do it. His photographs are understated, but they are iconic. And I'm going to meet the iconic man himself right here in this cafe. But first, cue the fancy intro. So Steve, you've made a career as an editorial and portrait photographer, and I'm wondering, with all the other styles of photography that you could be shooting, why that?
Well, to be honest, Dale, I started out as a fashion photographer. I really realized early that I had a knack for shooting models, and I loved hair, makeup, and styling. I saw Vogue for the first time when I was 17. Fashion, me plus camera equals pretty girls. I was super shy, so I realized that my camera was a great way to bring out the shyness. I was super confident with the camera, and I was making great fashion images when I was in Ryerson. When I got to the Globe and Mail, I took my fashion book to the Globe and Mail, and he loved it, but he gave me a portrait to shoot. And the funny thing is, he's like, any hack can shoot models in a great situation with great location and great hair and makeup. It takes a real photographer to shoot everybody else. Right. So I realized portraits are iconic, timeless, they last forever.
So portrait photography can happen in the studio or it can happen on location, and I find your work seems to be really location heavy. You do amazing jobs with all sorts of locations, but what do you actually prefer?
It's funny to say this, but I have no bias. I love shooting in the studio. I love light. I love working with light. Shooting on location, I also love. The thing about location photography is it's harder. So because it's harder, I really, really try to push my textures and my light and my color, and I'm trying to complement the clothes and my subject. I'm passionate about location photography. I mean, we're right here in the historical Toronto Graph Alley, and I mean, the best graph artists in Toronto paint in this alley. I know many of them, and many of these plates are backgrounds for some of my more known photographs.
Right. And what are you looking for in locations with subjects? Are you looking for it to match to the subject's persona and character, or are you trying to create something that's completely different? What are you looking for?
Well, I think for me it's always a complementary tone to match the clothes or to offset the clothes, to match hair, accessories. I mean, when it comes to shooting editorially, I'm highlighting the subject and I'm highlighting what they're wearing and the vibe, essentially. I use these locations to create that special sauce, but my whole vibe about my photographs is, it's not about me, it's about my subject. So I'm in the glorification business. So whatever works to glorify that person in front of my camera, and unique light, in combination with unique locations, that's what gets it for me.
So one more question about locations, which is that there's these locations that get used time and time again. It's stairwells, it's graffiti, it's all these things. And what separates, I think, your photography and a lot of photography of people of equal talent to you is that they're able to take these common locations and make them special, and it separates them out from all these other photographers who just make sort of these mediocre location shots. And how do you do that? How do you take something that we see every day but make it special? How are you able to achieve that?
Magic.
Awesome. Can I get a little of that, please?
Honestly, I mean, you're super flattering, Dale, and thank you, but I don't see it that way, and I also don't look at other photographers' photographs, especially not photographers that are doing stuff here. I mean, it's easy to steal even by accident when all you're doing is seeing what other people have done in that location. I look at locations like it's the first time I've seen them. It's like the first time. And the location tells me how I should work within it. My subject tells me how I should work within that location. Like, I literally feel very much like it happens so organically. Like, I'm not able to just, oh, I just do it like this. It just occurs. And I like to say that I shoot through the picture. There you go. That's how. I shoot through the picture. I don't shoot 3 frames for a photograph. I shoot 50 frames for a photograph. I shoot 100 frames for a single photograph. So you can imagine when you think that you have it, oh, I got it, I shoot another 50 pictures. So when you're going through that process to get one, there's no such thing as one shot, one kill. I'm looking for not 10s, I'm looking for 11s. So when you're looking for an 11 out of 10, that doesn't come in the first 5 minutes. I mean, it might come in the first 5 minutes, but how you know is you shoot through the picture. That's my answer. Forget about the first one.
Okay, so it's all well and good to like spend a bunch of time with somebody, but you photograph a lot of celebrities like Coco Rocha, Kanye West, all these people that don't have a lot of time. Sure. So what do you do when you only have like 5 minutes, 10, 15, 20 minutes with these people?
Well, usually it's between 3 and 15 minutes that I have. Yeah. I'll spend at least 1/3 vibing. No cameras, just conversation. And it's rarely flattering. It's rarely like, oh my God, I'm your biggest fan, I love. It's always like, you know, I really liked what you did here, and like, when this photographer photographed you, or what you did in this video was super interesting, and where did that come from? Like, I hit them as a peer. I really try to I'm never in fan mode. Like, that's the vibe. That's why I'm able to shoot so many celebrities, is I'm on the equal sort of, I really like what you're doing here. What's the spawn of this? What's this idea? Like, how did you get into this character? How did you feel when you were shooting this? Like, it's almost like I play a little bit of the interviewer. And I learned that from shooting editorially for the Globe and Mail. Is the interview aspect of the editorial portrait is very important, because you learn so much about the subject. So I shoot second, stay for the interview, listen to the celebrity. The celebrity gets to see me and feel my vibes, and then I ride the momentum of the interview and continue with the interview while that's my first vibe. And I'm like, oh my God, I love what you said. And then camera comes and I start squeezing frames. I never show the celebrity what I'm shooting until I get my first 11 out of 10. When I shoot a banger, that's when I'm like, look at this.
So tell me, what are some of your favorite projects? Because you do a variety of different styles of things. What stands out to you and what you're happiest with?
Well, I just started to shoot motion. I mean, just started meaning 8 years ago. I still don't call myself a director, just because, again, I'm still just warming up. But I have a couple of projects that I'm excited about. I do these 60-second portraits, which is essentially taking the very fundamentals of my portraiture and then making those portraits move. And then at the same time, with my still photography, I have a project that I do called Multiplicity, which is pushing the still frame as far as I can to make it feel like motion. So Multiplicity and my short 60-second portraits are the two things that I'm really excited about. And funny enough, both of those started as personal work, and both of those quickly turned into commercial work. And I mean, you shoot personal work becomes commercial work. Like,
that's the dream.
That's how you do it.
So Carty, you've been shooting for 27 years, and yet you're still banging, you're still relevant. How are you getting so inspired all the time? How do you keep that inspiration up?
Fear of irrelevance.
Age will do that, age will do that.
I mean, it's like, I just watched this documentary with Jay-Z, and he's like, that's what's inspiring me, is like these new cats that are coming out. Like, what inspires me is fear. I can't be standing there like, oh Jesus, please give me inspiration today to make a photo. No, I don't have time. Yeah. I have to get to work. Right. And I have to I can't be a warehouse, I have to be a factory. Which, I mean, you have to keep generating incredible content. Like I have a factory that makes 11s. It just churns out 11s. Yeah. I can't be looking around for inspiration when I'm trying to be at the top of my game. I have to put my nose to the grindstone, find subjects, and shoot through the picture and look for 11s. Like it's work. Yeah. I'm on the grindstone and I'm working. Like I can't be standing there, oh, inspired me. But at the same time, every photographer gets divine inspiration, gets like a great idea. Like we've all had them. Like my moving portraits and my multiplicity projects are pure divine inspiration. Like it happens for all of us.
But you got to do the work to get the inspiration.
Thank you. You have to do the work, because you're sitting around all day looking for inspiration. You're not making any pictures.
Right. So the last thing I want to know is, what is the best piece of advice that you ever received?
Well, two. I got two great pieces of advice. When I was in first year Ryerson, a friend of mine, Mir Latta, photographer, who was in fourth year at that time, he told me this: you have to create your own legend. No one's responsible for making you famous. No one is responsible for being your hype man. Like you have to be memorable, because all of us can make the photograph. We're all great enough to make the photograph, but what gives you repeat business is being memorable and giving people more than just a photograph, but you're giving them kind of an experience. If you think about it really, most people spend their days in cubicles. So when they get to come to a studio and be creative, it's fun. So exaggerate that. Like make that experience fun and memorable for people, and they'll want to have that experience again. Yeah. The second piece of advice was anybody can shoot a pretty girl in a pretty situation with pretty clothes and pretty hair and makeup. It takes a real photographer to shoot the uglies. It takes a real photographer to shoot the rest of us.
Yeah.
Not all of us are perfect. Not all of us are used to being in front of the camera. Right. Most of us have quirks and isms, and we're all kind of nervous when it comes to like being photographed. So if you can master the art of photographing the real people, then you can shoot anybody. So for me, I started making it my point that if someone hated being photographed, that's the person I want to photograph. If someone hates photographers, that's the guy I gotta meet and get in front of them and convince them that, no, photographers are cool. Yeah. And again, it's like, I always make photography second. Photography second, connection first.
Awesome.
If the connection happens, the photography, that's a given.
Awesome. Hey man, thanks for taking a walk with me today.
Thanks so much.
Have a great day.
Take
Ciao,
it easy,
buddy.